So we just got the news that PewDiePie is no longer the most subscribed YouTube channel, and honestly, I just regret not doing more to help. And I know that by the time this video goes up, he may be back in first place again, but I want to be part of the fight. This isn't YouTuber versus YouTuber. This is YouTubers versus multi-million-dollar corporations. We gotta let the Jimmy Kimmels and the Will Smiths and the T-Series of YouTube know that they can't take our platform from us. We, the creators, made YouTube what it is, and that includes PewDiePie. I stand with PewDiePie, and today I am going to cover myself in Marshmallow to convince you to subscribe to PewDiePie. And just so you know, I have 7 containers of this. I don't know how many I need. I left one on the shelf at the supermarket because I'm a nice guy. Now, for the rest of this video, I will only be saying subscribe to PewDiePie. There's a link down below in the description. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it. It is not optional. Thank you. Subscribe to PewDiePie. Subscribe to PewDiePie. By the way, I also have a mirror right here so I can check my progress. I put a lot of thought into this video, as you can tell. It's the culmination of many days of planning and forethought. That was the last thing I'm gonna say. And this. Subscribe to PewDiePie. 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 Shit. I mean, subscribe to PewDiePie. 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 Sub to PewDiePie. Sub to PewDiePie. Subscribe to Felix. Subscribe to PewDiePie. 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 Do it. If you haven't done it, you need to do it. I did it 3 times. I have 3 channels. I subscribed on all 3 channels. If you have multiple channels, use them. If you don't, creating a channel is simple and easy. And the world needs you. I need you. Don't let what I did today be done in vain. Please and thank you. 5 containers. There's 2 left. I think that's as far as we're gonna go. Ow. It really hurts when it gets in your arm hair. So don't do it, ever. Don't do this. But do subscribe to PewDiePie. Thank you. Oh, and if you're not already subscribed to me, it's obviously optional, especially considering the circumstances, but you can do it if you want. Bye.